So I was looking at tonight's Astros Marlins splits, and honestly, I had to double check if my screen was glitching. You ever see a game where literally everybody is on one side, but the sharp money is just quietly lurking? That's what's going on here. Let's walk through it, and I'll show you what I'm seeing. Welcome back to Split Labs, the home for sharp data, smarter bets, and that edge you're missing from every other channel. If you want access to every bet split, betting insight, and a squad that doesn't just follow trends, we set them, hit subscribe, smash the like, and use code YouTube at signup for 50% off your first month. Now let's read this board, shall we? Let's set the stage. It's the Houston Astros, 62-50, taking on the Miami Marlins, who are sitting dead even at 55-55. First pitch is at 6:41 p.m. Eastern, and the books have this game almost even. Astros minus 104 on the money line, Marlins minus 112. But here's the kicker. Split Labs model has the Astros at a 53% win probability, edging out Miami's 47%. Slight edge, but not enough to call it a lock. So why is all the public action on the other side? Thinking out loud here, the Marlins are suddenly getting all the action. They just capped off a 3-game sweep of the Yankees, the first in franchise history. 13-12, 2-0, and 7-3 wins. Stars like Kyle Stowers crushed it. He totaled 8 RBI in the series, and Agustin Ramirez went deep twice in that 2-0 shutout. Starter Edward Cabrera tossed 6 strong innings on Sunday, and the bullpen locked it down. Since mid-June, they're 30-14 with just 1 series loss in 12 chances. That's solid work. Let's dive into the data. On the run line, it's a public steamroller. Astros minus 1.5, only 22% of bets, 31% of money. Marlins plus 1.5, a whopping 78% of bets, 69% of the cash. What does this tell us? Bettors are loading up on Miami to cover, classic underdog syndrome. But notice that money percentage, the sharp side, leans a little heavier on Houston compared to the bet percentage. When you see more money than bets on a side, it's a classic smart money indicator. Now moving to the ML. Houston ML is getting 23% of bets but 40% of the money, while Miami ML is getting 77% of bets but only 60% of the money. Think about that. Nearly 4 out of every 5 tickets are on the Marlins, but the dollars are more evenly split. That's a potential reverse line movement waiting to happen. If you're on the Astros tonight, you're riding with the big wallets, not just the volume. Books shade toward Miami, but the wise guys could be pushing Houston. That's a trend we love to see if you're fading the public. And lastly, let's take a look into the total. Over 8.5 is landing 33% of bets, but a tiny 4% of the money, and the under is bringing in 67% of bets and a massive 96% of the cash.
This is about as lopsided as it gets. The public is hammering the under, but it's not just the little guys. That 96% of money, that's steam move territory. Books could start shading this line lower. Here's the Split Labs predictions for this matchup. From where I'm sitting, Astros ML, the smart money is heavier here proportionally. That's more value. Houston minus 1.5 run line, low bet percent, but money percent is higher. Sharp bettors quietly taking the trees. Riskier, but offers better payout if Astros show bounce back strength. Under 8.5, for now we're going to avoid the total. We're reviewing the board at midnight, so if you're watching this in the afternoon or closer to first pitch, some of these splits might look different, and this is one of those that I think might adjust. For the latest numbers, just hit splitlabs.net for up-to-the-minute action. That's where you'll always see the freshest sharp versus public trends before you lock in anything.
Real quick, if you're into breakdowns like this, you'll love what we've got going on at splitlabs.net. We track public betting splits across every sport. NBA, MLB, NFL, you name it. Plus matchup insights, team rankings, and even prop predictors to help you spot edges before the lines move. This isn't just picks. It's the same data the books are using to set prices, and we make it easy to read and actually use. You can try it free for 7 days, and if you like it, use code YouTube for 50% off your first month. No BS, no sportsbook affiliation, just clean, transparent data for smarter betting. All right, back to the breakdown.
All right, game 2, let's talk Yankees versus Rangers. This one's got classic public darling vibes written all over it, and the splits honestly look a little wild. Again, this is all midnight data, so if you're checking this on game day, hit Split Labs for the freshest numbers before you bet. The crowd is absolutely hammering the Yankees tonight. Not just on the money line, but especially on the run line. Almost all the action and nearly all the cash is sitting on New York -1.5. It's honestly kind of rare to see the public and money so stacked on the same side without any resistance from the sharps. If you're wondering why, the Yankees are still one of the biggest public teams in baseball, and coming off a rough sweep at the hands of Miami, you know Yankee fans want that bounce back. Texas has been up and down lately, and even with the Rangers at home, nobody seems to want a piece of them as a dog. Add to that, the Yankees' starting pitching has quietly been solid in August, and their lineup is finally getting healthy. Combine that with Texas's bullpen struggles, and you can see why the market's so lopsided. So, here's what we're seeing. For the run line, Yankees -1.5 is landing 75% of bets, 94% of money, and Rangers +1.5 is getting 25% of bets and 6% of money. The other money line, Yankees are bringing in 73% of bets, 80% of money, and Rangers ML is bringing 27% of bets, 20% of money. Total is set at 8, and the over is getting 67% of bets, 53% of money, while the under gets 33% of bets, 47% of money. So, where am I looking? Yankees ML. It's chalky, and I usually hate riding with the public, but there's no hidden sharp fade here. If you're playing it, maybe parlay it or wait for live value if Texas jumps out early. Total, the over is getting more bets and money, but not as lopsided as the side. If you want to be contrarian, the under actually has a decent money split and could be sneaky if the Yankees pitching holds up. Personally, I'm either laying off or taking a shot on the under 8 as my favorite play, especially if you can grab it at plus money or if the number creeps up before first pitch. All right, let's wrap it with Guardians versus Mets because this is just another game we had to show you guys. Here's what we've got right now. Run line, Guardians +1.5 is getting 45% of bets, 59% of money, while the Mets -1.5 brings in 55% of bets, 41% of money. Moneyline, Cleveland, 11% of bets, 3% of the money. And Mets, 89% of bets, 97% of the money. Total over-under is at 8, and the over 8 is bringing in only 11% of bets and 22% of money, while the under 8 brings in 89% of bets, 78% of money. Almost everyone is on the Mets, 89% of tickets, and basically all the money, 97% is there too. It's a full-on Mets hype train. Same story on the run line, but the cash is actually slightly heavier on Cleveland +1.5, which is a weird little reverse indicator. Why is this happening? Honestly, the Mets are just the hotter team right now. 63-49, sitting in a playoff spot, and usually smash at home against 500 squads like Cleveland. Meanwhile, the Guardians have dropped some winnable games lately and look inconsistent on offense, so bettors just want no part of them, and the Guardians' bullpen has looked shaky, so the public's piling on. But man, these splits are so lopsided, it almost makes me want to fade the crowd just out of principle. So here's how I'd play it. If you must, Mets ML is the safe side, but there's zero value left. This is what it looks like when the line is taxed by everyone betting the favorite. Our suggestion, Avoid it, and instead, the sharpest cash is actually on Guardians plus 1.5. More money than bets, which sometimes signals sharper or larger wagers quietly backing the dog to keep it close. We are going to pass on the total here, so while this isn't an official Split Labs pick, a contrarian play with everyone on the under is that if you see this number dip to 7.5 or lower, you could try a tiny overplay and root for chaos, but with Cleveland's offense cold, we'd tread lightly. My real advice, unless you're getting creative with a plus 1.5 run line or you catch some late lineup news, this is a spot I'd probably skip. CLE plus 1.5 as our crowd fader is the only play in the game for us here. All right, that's our board for today. If you want every single sharp versus public split in real time, not just these games, but every MLB matchup all the way up to first pitch, Split Labs has you, and you'll never have to ask who's really moving this line again. So before you lock anything in, check the site, use code YouTube for 50% off your first month, and roll with the squad that actually checks the data. Smash the like, hit subscribe, and drop your wildest upset pick in the comments. I'll be reading every one and maybe tailing the sharpest takes. Good luck, let's run hot tonight, and I'll see you on Split Labs.